So here we are with part 2 of the lesson for Il Mostro Atomico, and in this section we're going to cover the end of the Alex Lifeson section and on to the rest of the song, a very long, sort of drawn out 16th note pattern on the snare. Right before that, a very long fill that actually goes down the entire kit and goes all the way back up. And in thinking about this fill, I tried a lot of different things. It was definitely a fill that was composed, so I tried to just put different pieces together that I liked of stuff that I've been kind of working on, and then we got in the studio, and as is wont to happen, I did something completely different. So I had tried to, in the middle of it, think about, am I going to put cymbals in it, or do I want to just wait till the cymbals come at the very end and just have like a really big crash to kind of mark the time? And so that's what ended up happening. So I'm going to demonstrate that fill, and it's definitely one that if you think about it before you do it, you screw it up, kind of thing. So luckily, so far, it hasn't happened live, but it's always fun to play, and I get a chance to kind of use every single sound on the kit, every single drum, and so here is the fill. And then coming out of the fill, the section where I start the 16th note, what's interesting to note about that is that tempo that starts on the 16th note pattern that leads through the guitars kind of building back up again before we go into, which is really the only vocal in the whole song, where Scott sings like probably 4 lines of vocals. That snare pattern basically sets the tempo for the rest of the song. So every part that comes after that had to be exactly that tempo, so I can't play it too slow, too fast. I've got to think about all the other stuff that's coming after and basically set it up with that 16th note. So here is the entire part. So leading into the section that comes after we build the guitars back up, we wanted it just to be really, really heavy, and then it kind of settles into another groove, which also anticipates sort of the end of the song. Actually on the record, the middle of that section, Brad actually plays a triangle solo in his tribute to Ed Grimley. And so I have to kind of duplicate that on the bell of the hi-hat during that part of the groove, and so I end up doing something like this. Just doing the open. But leading up to that part, it's just kind of a straight groove through probably 4 measures and then 4 measures of that before we go into the next part breakdown. So the next part breakdown is a completely different riff, and again, it's just the bass drum kind of leading everything on quarter notes, and Hill playing another riff that we had that we wanted to kind of signal the last part of the song. And there's a section there that I do some build-ups with toms, and really just kind of utilizing the straightforwardness of the part I wanted to keep, because some of the other fills in the song get pretty complicated, and the earlier part, playing over the Alex Lifeson stuff, that is another composed piece. This part was really just a matter of keeping it simple and using the tones of the left-hand floor tom in here to go up and then up from the floor tom to the rack tom, and putting some flams in between all of that stuff, and just trying to keep it simple, and at the end building out of an effective eighth note build. And so I'll demonstrate that part. What I have been doing live is working in some more of the concert toms in there as well, and then we just kind of settle into, after the eighth note build, a really strong straight ahead groove, kind of like a driving thing. I kind of pictured this, actually I remember sort of driving out to the desert when it was stormy, and I kind of had this feel in mind that I wanted to kind of get in there to where you're just cruising and the landscape is going past you. So, you know, on another planet, of course, not this planet. So anyways, here's that part. Check it out. So the tail end of the song, right before we go into the very last beat, there is a section that we do some more fills in, and this particular one, I again wanted to try and keep stuff relatively simple, but I knew that I wanted to do a fill that kind of went over the bar a little bit, which was going to allow me to kind of get back up to the concert toms and bring it all the way down once again. So I want to demonstrate that fill in this part, and then coming out into the groove. In this demonstration, I'm going to include some of the stuff that I've been doing live, because again, there are parts of this song that are very structured, but the fun thing about it is that there's a lot of stuff that has been kind of left open in open spaces, so it's continually evolving as we play it, which makes it kind of like a living piece of music, which is awesome. So these are some of the things I've been doing now. Maybe in the future when we play it, it might change, and it's always one of those things where you play something different live and you go like, man, I wish I would have recorded that, but there are some live versions that we'll be doing hopefully and recording, so maybe we'll get there. Anyways, here's that longer fill that goes over the bar, and then the last groove actually is of the song. I did a lot of percussion overdubs in the end there. I mean, everything from cowbells to fish to bongos. I was kind of doing the one-man percussion army. Vibra slap is in there. We threw in some Tars pedals with my friend Curtis Mathewson, trying to, you know, make it as proggy as we could. So it was super, super fun. And anyways, live, what I do is I just kind of bring in a little bit of the ching ring. Where is the ching ring? The ching ring is out of operation right now. Anyways, I put that up here and just use the cowbell and kind of go back and forth between those two things. But the groove is actually kind of my sort of tribute to the Echoes groove from Pink Floyd. I'm a huge Nick Mason fan, always have been, and that particular live version that they do, the Live at Pompeii version, is so behind the beat and so incredibly just, it's groovy, for lack of a better word. So I always try when we do that live. I didn't do it on the record because again I set the tempo with the 16th notes on the snare, but live I definitely try and bring that back and really bring it back and lock in with Brad and just kind of set that, and it actually makes the end of the song, which has a big cymbal section and just kind of, you know, the same beat over and over again. it really makes the song a lot heavier, I think. So anyways, here's all those parts, check them out, and some demonstrations on how they're done. So the very end of the song there, something that we wanted to just, again, build out of, layer it, make it heavier and heavier and heavier until it just kind of gave out at the end. And then Scott plays the same riff that started the song at the end of it, so it's a nice bookend to everything. And there's some double bass stuff that goes on in there just at the beginning of the fill section when everything gets heavier, just to transition into the very last part, which I tried to put on my best Keith Moon, Alex Van Halen hat and just really roar the cymbals as much as I could. Anyways, I hope you've enjoyed this lesson. This particular song was really a challenge for us in a lot of ways, and it continues to be a challenge to play it every night. We have been ending with it on the Clone of the Universe tour every set. So I'm actually going to be kind of sad to see that go. Hopefully we can bring it back in other forms later on. But yeah, it's really awesome to be able to do something like this and hopefully share some stuff and some of the things that I was thinking about in putting together the drum part. When we all agreed to do a sidelong song, I never really stopped to think about, oh yeah, I have to come up with at least 15 minutes of drumming. So probably better not to think about that in advance, as it probably would have scared me off. But anyways, hope you've enjoyed all the lessons for all of the songs on Clone of the Universe. You can subscribe to the YouTube channel for over 10 years worth of drum videos in all different shapes and sizes. There'll be more stuff coming, more FU MANCHU stuff coming, Sun and Sail Club stuff coming, and just general overall technique stuff. Online lessons around the world at scottreederdrums.com if you're in the Costa Mesa or Los Angeles area or Greater Orange County area. I do in-home lessons as well, and also in-studio lessons in here, actually, with the other drum set set up. So thanks again for watching. Hope you've enjoyed all of the lessons for this album, and there'll be more to come.
Future reshaped.